Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Dale Baker. How are you doing today, sir?
Happy Red Friday, bud.
Hey,
Happy Red Friday.
Happy Red Friday to you too. So, we got a little bit of company with us today, at least on
Yeah.
this end of it. Got Ezra and little Chloe running around here, but
Uh,
we'll see what happens.
yes. I think it'll be great. The more
All right.
Chiefs fans on this podcast, the better.
Hey, that's right. That's right. Train them in the way they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. Right.
Amen.
That's
Preach.
that's how I remember that
Yeah,
scripture
that's right,
going.
man. We can't be having Green Bay fans or anything like that, or Dallas Cowboy fans. I mean, my
Yeah, for
goodness.
sure not Broncos or 49ers.
Yeah, anything but yeah. So there's a couple teams
Yeah,
you can't be fans of. There's a couple teams, but yeah, we'll train them right with the big red baby, big red machine.
that's right. All right. Well, today we're going to be looking at the Buccaneers game coming up, the Monday night game. So that'll be a fun topic of discussion too. But we also going to be talking about a trade deadline coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So should the Chiefs be trading for anyone? If so, should we target offense, defense? Also looking at some AFC Power Rankings. So all that and more is coming up. So come hang out with us.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
All right, Dale, the first thing we got to talk about is the thing coming up very soon, the trade deadline, the thing that's going to affect the entire NFL potentially. So we don't know if the Chiefs are really going to make any more trades.
Right,
They
right,
have
right.
a lot of cap room, but they could also restructure a few guys and maybe create a little bit more. So
Yeah.
right now, I think I last heard their cap room was somewhere around like $300,000. So
Oh my goodness. Yeah, not a lot of room.
no, so I mean, once they signed, DeAndre Hopkins, and then once they signed over Josh Uche,
Yeah.
they didn't have a lot to work with. So it's possible that they could maybe get another one of their guys to maybe restructure as well to help them create more room for some guys, but we just don't know. So, but potentially, if the Chiefs were to try to trade for another player, do you think you would prefer them to get a defensive guy or an offensive guy?
Man, they just signed Uche over here for the defense, and then I'll tell you what, it's going to be weird to see 55 back on the field.
Oh man, I
I'm
know.
assuming that's the number he's going to go with. So it's going to be weird. Those Chiefs fans would remember old great Frank Clark, playoff Frank. Man, he didn't do much in the regular season, but when it came to the playoffs,
Hey,
he came alive.
he was a shark, right? Frank the Shark.
Frank the Shark. So it'll be weird to see 55, but I still think. I mean, I feel like we got the guys that we need, but it would be nice to get a corner, a veteran corner in there, just kind of help out McDuffie. But I think the boys will figure it out. And so that's kind of what scares me about this game coming Monday night is our corner play.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the two positions I'm thinking of too. Is one's the corner position too because we've had so many injuries,
Right.
especially with Jalen Watson there. There's so
Yeah.
much that potentially could go wrong there. Joshua Williams filled in and last weekend, if nothing else, as well as the rookie number 30. I forget his name off the top of my
Yeah.
head, but Roland something. But those two filled in, and at best, they're inconsistent at this point.
Yeah.
Right? They have moments where they look all right, and then moments where they just give up huge plays that cost us touchdowns. So there's just inconsistent. So that's definitely a position, but then you might also look at, the offensive side. Maybe do the
Right.
Chiefs need another receiver, right? I mean, yes, we got DeAndre Hopkins now, and maybe Xavier Worthy's going to start clicking a little more.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rashee Rice did. Remember last year, it was later half of the season when he started finally
Yeah.
clicking and figuring out and came alive in the playoffs. But either way, those are the two things. And I would venture to say that, well, if
Left
those are the
tackle.
only, yeah, left tackle too. I would venture to say that I'd prefer them to go after an offensive guy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if we can, I think that would help get the offense right. It still doesn't look right. It looks better. And I know Andy Reid and Pat are excited about D Hop and having him on the field. And just, I think the playbook's going to expand each week. And so I think it's great where we got him. And so I'll be super excited to see them in the end. And, as you get Hollywood Brown back and Rashid Rice by some miracle back, I mean, this offense will be rolling.
I'll tell you, I think you can take to the bank Rashee Rice is not coming back this year. I know there's been reports saying that they think he's going to, but I'm just telling you, it's not happening.
T.O. played on one leg, a broken ankle in the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you, Rashee Rice is not him. So I'm not saying anything, taking anything away from Rashee Rice, but I mean, when you tear your knee up, that is not an easy thing to come back from. It's easier to play with a bummed ankle than a bummed knee.
Sure.
So, but anyway, I'd go after an offensive player. I mean, defensively, if one cornerback position, if that's your biggest weakness and it's only one position,
right,
that's a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
Most defenses are going to have 2 or 3 positions at least that they would love to shore up a little bit. And we're over here arguing over who's cornerback 2 or 3, right? And so that's a great position for a defense to be in. I mean, obviously we don't want those injuries. It'd be better to have Jalen Watson back in there and healthy, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to be coming anytime soon. But, potentially, once again, he could come back because from what I understand, it was just a break in his ankle. But once again, breaks and ankles with all those little bones are sometimes harder to recover from than just a big break like in your leg.
Right.
Because you have one bone versus 7 or 8 bones you're trying to heal. So, but either way, I think I would target an offensive guy as well.
No, I'm with you. It should be interesting. I mean, I'm maybe go after left tackle. I know Wani Morris is the guy right now, and so Andy Reid came out and said that this week. He said, "Hey, he's who we're sticking with. It's who we're going with right now." So, which I think you predicted on the podcast earlier this week. So, shout out Andrew.
That's right. Hey, we might not know a lot, but we can give you a good insight and or at least some good ideas of what might happen. So
exactly.
So all right. Well, what about this? Who do you think is the Chiefs' biggest rival or biggest potential to upset them on? Let's do a couple of NFC and AFC. So let's start with NFC because AFC is the ones we're going to care about the most because that's the hurdle to the Super Bowl. But start with the NFC. Who do you think is the Chiefs' biggest or the biggest threats to the Chiefs to knock them off?
Oh, the biggest threat. I'd say the biggest rival would be the Buccaneers just because the last couple of years with Tom being on, I know they beat them. The Chiefs have been good beating them in the regular season, but has not really they lost that one Super Bowl. So I would say that one stings and hurts still to this day. I remember that game. I remember that Super Bowl more than I remember the other ones about how just like terrible it was just to watch and yet to still have hope that they could come back watching it all the way. So I say the biggest threat this year would be the Detroit Lions, right? So the Detroit Lions are the biggest threat. They're playing good ball. Their special teams, their offense, their defense is playing fantastic. And what scares me about the Detroit Lions is there she is. There's Chloe. Miss Chloe, how are you? So the biggest threat with the Lions is their offensive line is really probably the best in the league. And so that, our run defense is great, but they have a great offensive line. They can really push you around and make some big holes.
Yeah, they might have the best offense in the NFL, the Lions do.
Yeah.
So it'd be tough to play against them. But honestly though, I think the Commanders are another big threat in the NFC.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I would have said at the beginning of the season, but right now, I mean, their defense is playing pretty decent. They're not necessarily an elite defense, but they're playing pretty good. And we got their offense, which is really clicking too. So there's a lot good going on for the Commanders right now. So, but then the flip side, the AFC, I mean, there's so many question marks I have about these AFC teams, including the Ravens, the Bills, all these teams that everybody says is the best. These are teams that I have the most questions about.
I know. Yeah, me too. Because you got the Ravens losing to Cleveland, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. Like the Raiders. And I guess they had, I guess it was Minshew who was quarterback. So, I mean, I just think I think that's why I feel confident saying that the Chiefs are heads and shoulders the best team in the NFL right now. Just because, they don't, they may not blow people out, and that's fine, I think, but they control the game. And we kind of talked about this. The only game where they really didn't control and probably should have ended up losing was against the Bengals. They seemed out of, the penalties that were happening. They couldn't move the ball, but they did enough to win the game. And so I think there's a complete game by the Kansas City Chiefs. And so, I think that's we might as well go buy our Super Bowl tickets now.
I mean, might as well, right? So, the Ravens, they lose to the Browns, who,
right.
They're a dumpster fire organization. There's
right.
no other way to put it. They just keep making poor decision after poor decision. And then you got, Deshaun Watson, he is the most overpaid player in the NFL based on his production.
The worst contract in NFL history.
Oh, by far. And so because of that contract, they feel like they're handcuffed to him where they can't bench him even though he's not playing well. And so you don't want somebody to get injured, but he did get injured. And so, a backup came in and they had a new life to them. So and it's Division II with the Ravens, but either way, that's not a game that the Ravens should lose.
No.
And so here's the thing with the Ravens. Like every time they get into a semi-close game, they abandon the run.
Oh, yeah.
And the run is their strength.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. It doesn't even have to be like the fourth quarter. It can be the start of the third quarter with 13 minutes left, and they're like, we're down. We got to pass.
Yeah.
And for the whole second half, they just abandoned the run, which is a lot of what happened against Cleveland. I think Derrick Henry, I don't remember how many touches he had against Cleveland, but it was less than 10.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy. Why would you do that? And what's crazy about Deshaun Watson's contract is it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And there's no out. There's no clause to get out of it. And so that is bad news.
Because of this, I don't think you'll ever see an NFL team again give a fully guaranteed contract to anyone.
Right.
I think they're starting to realize the poor decision making that was. But then the flip side, you got the Bills, right? The Bills look really good against some teams that have losing records, and then they play teams that are somewhat decent, and they get blown out a lot.
Right.
And so
I know the Ravens blew them out, right? The Ravens blew the doors off of them.
Yeah.
And then they so just it's wild.
Yeah. So who do you think is the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC?
I would probably the Ravens, just because the Chiefs have been known in playoff games to be down before, and but again, that'd probably be the biggest threat to the AFC. So right now, it's the Ravens and Lions for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Ravens are the biggest threat in the AFC, even though the Chiefs seem to have their number, especially on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, does he have any wins? He might have one win against Patrick Mahomes, right?
I think one. I think they beat him at home one year.
Yeah, but other than that, I think Lamar Jackson, it's 1-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy number. So I think the Chiefs have their number. But if the Ravens would not abandon the run, they'd have a lot better chance against the Chiefs.
Yeah. And
this year, I don't know, because this year their run defense is spectacular.
Oh, yeah. I think they could slow them down at least. Derrick Henry had 11 attempts for 73 yards against the Browns.
Okay, so he did get.
So you were one off, man. That's pretty good memory. And still, he wasn't being. That's a productive running back right there.
Yeah,
that's averaging 6.9 yards a carry.
Well, remember one of his carries went for 80 yards though.
Oh, was that with the Browns? Or yeah,
I thought it was. Am I making that up?
Maybe I thought that was against Tampa Bay, I think that was against Tampa Bay.
Maybe I'm thinking of the previous week then. All right, well, I don't remember everything apparently.
Well, I'm not going to hold it to you, bud. It's pretty impressive to know that. 11 carries, so for 73 yards, 6.6 yards a carry.
All right,
that's productive.
Well, that is.
Why would you stop giving them the ball?
It makes no sense. That's what I'm saying is they get in those tight games, and for whatever reason they abandon the run.
Right,
which makes no sense. And
that's what I thought.
Against the Browns, they abandoned the run.
Them bringing in another wide receiver, I thought was kind of foolish, because I thought they had good wide receivers with Zay Flowers and some other guys that were not all stars, but they catch the ball and they have a good tight end. They have two good tight ends, And then I have Derrick Henry. Now you're adding this other wide receiver, and you know me, wide receivers are divas. I mean, they can just they can start getting mad when you divide a locker room like that because you're not getting enough touches. I mean, oof. Hopefully, but the culture could be set in Baltimore that they'll be fine. Yeah.
If you have a good culture, you can overcome those things, but it just depends. So
right.
But the flip side, it doesn't worry me that the Ravens got another receiver because I don't think their pass game is very strong, even with another receiver. And Lamar Jackson has improved tremendously to his credit. Lead in passing, but if they're forced to throw the ball to win the game, I don't know that he can do it.
Yeah,
he had a chance against the Chiefs, open guys to win the game, and missed them from 10 yards away. I mean, we're not talking about 30 yards down the field. We're talking about a 10-yard pass, maybe 15 total from where he stands to where the ball lands.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be an easy pass for an NFL quarterback.
Right.
And he just blatantly missed guys. So that's why I'm not worried. So, but that being said, here are my AFC rankings.
All right, let's hear them.
Week 8. So starting with number 5, this is the one that, man, I just kind of throw my hands up a little bit and like, I don't really know. But this week at least, I'm going to have to go with, man, it almost pains me to say this, but the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yeah, there you go, baby.
I don't want to put them in the top 5, but they seem to be figuring some things out, right?
Right.
So maybe they're.
And I mean, I think it helps that they're playing bad teams.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. So these rankings very well are going to change.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know. I understand their record. I mean, you can't deny it. Like you always say, you can only play the team that's in front of you.
Yeah.
Right. You can only play that team, and so. But yeah, I think it helps the young rookie and gives them a little confidence. And who knows when they play the Chiefs next week, he may have all the confidence in the world and win.
Yeah, very well could happen. So Broncos number 5, number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, let's go black and gold, baby.
Hey, Russell Wilson, I'm not saying he's going to be playing like this all year, but right now he seems to have some life invigorated in him.
Yes.
Mike Tomlin's a great head coach and is doing what he needs to do to get it. Yeah.
Love Mike.
Him. Number 3, the Buffalo Bills.
All right. Yeah, makes sense. Can't deny their record. Again, I was very wrong. I know.
I think you said they weren't going to get over 7 wins, right? Or did you say 8? You had 7 or 8?
I think I said over 7. Yeah,
I got it written down. I can fact check this later. But
how many wins do they have already
right now?
Oh, 6 wins.
6.
Okay, well,
they only got to get 1 or 2 more to pass what you said.
The easy part of their schedule's done. Now let's get into November, December, which is crazy. Happy November, man! It's wild, isn't it? It's November.
It is.
So
crazy. All right, bring us to number 2, the Ravens. Even though they lost last week, I still think they're one of the better teams.
Yeah.
So they're the best 5-3 team that there is, which there's only 2 5-3 teams, but they're the best one that there is. So, which leads us to number 1, the Chiefs. Man, you can't knock their record. They're the only team in the NFL that has not lost any games. They basically have a 4-game lead on the most on teams that people think are going to be competing for that number 1 spot in the AFC with the Ravens. And then potentially if they beat the Bills, they could again have basically a 4-game lead on them.
Yeah.
So you might notice the team that is not listed here is the Houston Texans.
So rough night.
It was very rough for them. I mean, you would think that, I kind of thought, oh, hey, they're going to be able to beat the Jets. But that was the worst thing that could have happened for my life is the Jets winning last night, because I cannot stand when these sports shows talk about the Jets like they're going to do something. I mean, come on. I know it's a big market. I understand that. But what are we celebrating 3 and 6? I mean, apparently so. Apparently so. That's
is that what we're celebrating now? Man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rough. So yeah, but no, that makes the Houston. I was watching a little bit of that game with a friend, and I thought that CJ Stroud looks lost and is trying to do too much. I don't know if you watched much of it or had to. I know you probably trick or treating with kiddos, but
I watched the very end of it, just like the last few minutes, basically. I saw the Jets score their last touchdown, and when the Texans were trying to hold them and they weren't able to, and then they let the Jets score on a wide open pass. But that's basically when I started watching. It was a little bit before that.
Right.
So
There you
yeah, I
go.
didn't see all of it.
There you go. All right. Well, I have zero qualms with your ranking there. I don't know if that would add or take away a team. I think you even have in the right spots.
All right. Well, hey, if you agree with me, then I'll take it.
There
So
you go.
hey, let's jump to this Buccaneers game.
Oh man,
So
let's
the
do it.
Buccaneers, I mean, they've been playing really good this year. I
Yes.
mean, they have been. And so Baker Mayfield's been playing at what some might consider MVP level.
Some.
Yeah, I'm not saying everyone, but some would consider that.
Yeah.
Said that he should be in the MVP conversations at least, and talking about all those things. But and they've been winning a lot of games. But here's the other side: they just lost a lot of their wide receivers recently. So
Yeah.
Mike Williams is out, Chris Godwin is out, and so there's lots of questions for them coming into this Chiefs game. And so, I mean, Baker Mayfield's playing great, but as we saw recently, it's hard for any team to win.
Oh yeah.
When your top two wide receivers are out.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Chiefs, apparently.
Unless you're the Chiefs, and you just keep going.
Hey, I'll tell you, if nothing else, this should prove to people how well the Chiefs are coached and how well they're playing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many wide receiver injuries this year. I don't know what it is, but wide receivers are just plagued with injuries this year. They're not doing well in that aspect at all. And so the flip side is, so a lot of people are making trades for other wide receivers and so forth. But even with all that said, the Chiefs still seem to find ways to win.
Yeah.
Even with all these injuries, with, Hollywood Brown going out before the season started, then Rashee Rice going out in week 4 or whatever it was, and then Juju, who they brought in to kind of be that third guy, is now out for a while too.
Yeah.
And now, not only that, but their number one running back, Isaiah Pacheco's out. So they bring in, all these key injuries, and yet they still keep winning. People can say, oh, there's not a good team. They haven't been doing this, but they keep winning. You can say what you want, but they keep winning.
Right.
Well, they should blow them out by more, but they keep it. What is the point of the game, Dale?
Yeah, to win the game.
To win the game. Does it matter if you win by 1 or by 30?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, because no one cares about that. No one goes game by game of the 72 Dolphins and say, oh, well, they only won by 1 point in this game. Oh, they pushed a guy out of bounds and his toe was out of bounds and they lost. They won that game. No one talks about that. You just talk about, hey, they win the game. It's a team game. It's a team sport. The Chiefs fans know we have tried to win Super Bowls with just defense. And we have tried to win Super Bowls with this offense, and that has gotten us nowhere. And so it has to be a joint effort. Even when early Mahomes' career, the defense wasn't this dominant, but they were great in key situations.
Yep.
Like when they needed to get a stop, they were able to get a stop. When they needed to get a turnover, it seemed like they were able to get a turnover for the offense. And so I just think and then having Harrison Butker back there,
just
is, easy money. And it's been huge. And that's why you pay that guy and keep him on your team, because he's one of or the best in the NFL right now, playing, kicking the balls. So, yeah, I think it's a team game, and the Chiefs are the best at it right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's going to happen in this game? What are we looking for? What do we think needs to happen for the Chiefs to pull out the victory?
Yeah. Well, we just need to keep putting D-Hop in the plays, get him more comfortable with the offense, and to get him just in a rhythm. I'd like to see that, and I'd like to see where all the wide receivers. Really, I'm just looking at the offense because we know what our defense is. It's great. It's elite. And so I'm really just looking at the offense and seeing them getting on the right track and carry some momentum into the playoffs here. I know it's crazy talking about the playoffs, but we're only 2 months away, right?
Yeah, it's getting close. We're in November now. So
yeah, we're in November now. So these games are getting real, and these games are going to be tough. And so, yeah, I think just seeing the offense get in a rhythm and they carry that rhythm throughout November and December and January in February.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Yeah.
and people always say, hey, you don't really know who the real teams are until you're 2 months into the season. Well,
Yeah.
we're 2 months in, and who are the real teams?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs have got to be in that conversation now, right? So,
Yeah, they do.
yeah. And so the thing I want to see is I'm still watching that cornerback position on the Chiefs
Yeah.
defense with the injury to Jalen Watson being out. I want to see how Joshua Williams is going to be playing. Najee Johnson, is filling in, but he's under concussion protocol still right now. But he
Oh,
has till
man.
Monday, so we'll see what happens with that. But I want to see how those young cornerbacks are going to do filling in for the
Right.
injured Jalen Watson. We need to see. I mean, I know Mike Evans is out. I know Chris Godwin is out, but they still have some guys that can catch the ball. They still have some
Yep.
guys that can run the ball,
Yep.
right? And so they have still have a great matchup here with the Buccaneers, and so that defense has got to prove to us and show us again how elite they are. We've been saying they're elite, so let's prove that they're elite.
They're going to show. They're going to show.
That's right.
Felt like they relaxed a little bit this past Sunday against the Raiders, but the Raiders may have just got them. So,
Yeah. So, and I think playing against those division people are always some of the hardest too because they know you the best. They know what you like to do, your tendencies. They know how you like to attack certain formations and certain looks.
Right.
And so they know so much about you, where other teams, they might be studying you for a week or two, and your division studies you for, 2-3 weeks every single year.
Yeah.
So it's hard like that. But
what are your expectations for Josh Uche?
At first you got to think, do you think he's going to get much playing time?
I think it'll be situation. I think on long third downs, maybe first down, where it's clearly passing downs.
Yeah, I think that's the only time you're going to see him in the game this week. So, and he might figure out some of those other things because as we've talked about before, Spag's defense gets better as time goes on, as the year goes on. And that's because his defenses takes a while for those players to figure out because it's more complicated than most defenses.
Right.
But that's also why his defense is so great because as we've seen over the years, every year he's there and you get some of those same core players there again and again and again. It's gotten better every single year since he first started in 2019. So,
bingo.
And last year we won the first Super Bowl as in history. So might be a correlation there. So
maybe. Do you think
I need to see D-Hop get some more?
Okay.
I think he's going to be getting some more routes and some more looks after only being there for 3 or 4 days before the previous game. Now he has a full week of preparation with the guy. So I think you're going to see him a lot more. I think you're going to see Pat intentionally target him a lot more too.
Yeah. Like he was with Rashid Rice early on in the year, was just, targeting him. So, do you think Charles Omenihu is not as healthy as we may think? I know he's coming off an injury. That's why I thought it was weird they got an edge rusher.
I don't think so. I think they're just trying to bolster, a position.
There you go.
Because they've been saying even from the beginning of the year that it's probably be November at least, at the earliest before Omenihu came back.
Right.
And so, maybe there's a bigger injury to Mike Dana that we.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But I still think more than anything, because they still haven't placed Mike Dana on the IR, even though he's been having this injury for a couple weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, I think they're just trying to bolster their, just their position group of pass rushers as much as anything else. Because if you're really worried about that position, worried about those guys not coming back, you don't want a guy who's only a pass rusher. You want a guy who can stop the run too. And Josh Uche, which we hope he improves in this, but his weakness, which has been well stated, is his run defense.
Right.
So you don't want a guy who can't stop the run as a replacement for guys who can do both.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have a guy who can do mediocre at both those things rather than a guy who can only do one.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I don't think it's necessarily a sign that Omenihu or Dana is severely injured, but just they're trying to bolster the position group that they see. And
there you go.
And without those two guys, and even with Dana a little bit too, we've been struggling to get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing. And so they're thinking, and Brett Veach is probably thinking, all right, we got to do something to help these guys out because it's not working right now.
Right.
So that's what I think, at least.
There you go. I'm glad to hear your thoughts.
We'll see what happens. So, But yeah, so we'll see what happens in this game. Lots of good things to look forward to and to watch. So, what is your score prediction here? What do you
Oh
think
man, what is that's a great question. Score prediction. It's in Arrowhead, 7:15 kickoff.
Yep, the Chiefs are an 8.5-point favorite right now.
8.5 points.
Yep, 44 is the total over under.
44, 8.5 points, 44 under. So let's go, man. Do we get on track offensively here?
Good question.
I'm gonna go 38-20.
Oh man, you got a big.
I got a feeling. D Hop. I got a feeling Kareem Hunt's gonna eat. Let's go.
Hey, I thought the Chiefs were going to break that 30 mark last week for the first time in a long time and came up 3 points short.
There you go.
I still think they're going to get to that point at some point this year. Why not this week?
Right, not this week.
I'm going to say Chiefs 31.
Okay.
I think the Buccaneers are going to make it closer than people think. I think Baker Mayfield is a competitor, and he has weeks that he looks great and weeks that he doesn't. I think this is a week that he's going to look great because everybody's doubting them.
Right.
When you doubt Baker Mayfield, he usually has a great game. People doubting how great they're going to be because of all their injuries, and so he's going to show up and show out. And so I think it's going to be Chiefs 31, Buccaneers 27.
Ooh, all right. Still keeping that record. Still keeping the record. I like it.
Still keeping the record, but I think it's just going to be a little bit closer. So
okay. All right.
Still not going to let any defense get over 27 points on us, but I think they're going to exploit that cornerback position that we just talked about. So
yeah. I think so.
Ezra wants to share who he thinks is going to win too, right?
All right, Ezra, let's hear it.
Ezra, who's going to win, the Chiefs or the Buccaneers? You got to say it right here in this microphone. Right there. Who's going to win, the Chiefs or the Buccaneers?
Don't get shy now.
Or nines are going to win.
They're not even playing the game. Get out of here. That's trash.
Oh, I got to do it with the Chiefs.
The Chiefs?
Yeah, there we go. All right. There we go.
All right.
So,
49ers.
Chiefs.
Obviously, you don't watch Super Bowls. But
or the last 5 games of the 49ers
or the last
Chiefs.
5 games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you came here to join us with Dale and myself and these 2 little hooligans running around here. So,
you jumped on the other side, man.
Exactly. Hooligan behavior right there. So, I know you're making noise too. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us in this. Oh, hey, don't mess with that. They're trying to mess everything up here. Thanks for joining us this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you came here to join us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, this episode is brought to you by Oh Hey Threads. You can get your own super soft tee and hoodie at ohheythreads.com. But hey, more than anything, we want you to do this. Make sure you leave us a review. Make sure you share, subscribe, share this with your friends. I mean, that's going to help us more than anything. So we'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.
Bye-bye.
Bye.